Commander Alan Miller stood by the large viewing window of the UES constellation, watching the slow rotation of Nexus Station against the backdrop of stars. His reflection showed a man who looked tired. 15 years of careful diplomacy had that effect on a person. 15 years of smiling when he wanted to scream. 15 years of bowing to alien species who thought humans were barely evolved monkeys. "Commander, the diplomatic team is ready to board," said Lieutenant Diane Foster from behind him. Her voice was professional, but Alan could hear the tension in it. "Thank you, Lieutenant. I'll be there shortly." Alan took a deep breath. Another day of pretending to be less than what they were. Another day of playing nice with species who treated Earth as a curiosity, a dangerous planet that somehow produced sentient life. Deathworlders, they called humans. As if surviving on a planet with high gravity, extreme weather, and predators that could kill with a single bite was something to be ashamed of rather than proud of. The shuttle ride to Nexus Station was quiet. Ambassador Patricia Clark reviewed her notes, her gray hair pulled back in a tight bun, her blue suit perfectly pressed. At 62, she had spent most of her career representing humanity to the stars. Alan admired her patience. "Remember," Patricia said without looking up, "the Vexari delegate will try to provoke you. He does it every meeting. Do not show any reaction." "Yes, Ambassador. I'm familiar with his tactics." Patricia finally looked at him, a small smile on her face. "I know you are, Alan. I just need everything to go smoothly today. The trade agreements with the Arturians are too important to risk." The docking procedure went as expected. A Zinthari official met them at the airlock, his forearms moving in the formal greeting pattern of his species. "Ambassador Clark, Commander Miller, welcome back to Nexus Station. The council is gathered in Chamber 3. They followed the slim alien through the curving corridors. Alan noticed how the other species moved aside as they walked past. Not out of respect, out of fear. Despite 15 years of proving they could play by the rules, most aliens still viewed humans as barely contained savages. Chamber 3 was a large, round room with seats arranged in a circle. Most were designed for body types very different from human. Some were more like perches, others like shallow pools. The Galactic Council included 27 species, and humans were the newest members. "Ah, the Earth delegation arrives," said Councillor Thrix, the Vexari representative. His translucent skin showed the movement of fluids inside his body, and his multiple eyes blinked in sequence. "I trust your journey was pleasant? No unfortunate incidents where your species reverted to their base nature?" Patricia smiled, a practiced expression that didn't reach her eyes. "The journey was uneventful, Counselor. Thank you for your concern." Alan stood behind her, hands clasped behind his back, face neutral. He had learned long ago that showing anger only confirmed what the aliens believed about humans. The meeting began with the usual formalities. Reports were given. Trade disputes between the Zinthari and the Osul were discussed. Boundary expansion requests were reviewed. Alan found his mind wandering until Ambassador Clark nudged him slightly. "The Council recognizes Ambassador Clark, of Earth," said the head counselor, a tall, willowy being from a species called the Elenar. Patricia stood. "Thank you, Counselor. I wish to address the recent incidents at the mining colony on Vega 6. Human workers have reported unfair treatment and restrictions not applied to other species." The Vexari delegate made a sound like air escaping from a balloon. "Perhaps if your workers did not have a history of violent outbursts, such restrictions would be unnecessary. The incidents you refer to were investigated and found to be cases of self-defense," Patricia replied calmly. "Human workers were attacked first." "Self-defense. That resulted in 3 broken limbs for one Zinthari supervisor," Councillor Thrick said. "Your species does not know its own strength, or perhaps does not care to control it." Alan felt his jaw tighten but kept his expression neutral. What the Vexari didn't mention was that the Zinthari supervisor had attacked a human female worker with a mining tool after she refused his advances. "The strength of my species is not the issue," Patricia said. The issue is equal treatment under council law. The debate continued for another hour. As always, the concerns of humans were minimized, explained away, or simply ignored. Alan watched Patricia maintain her composure with genuine admiration. He wasn't sure he could do her job without losing his temper. When a short break was called, Alan and Patricia moved to a quiet corner of the chamber. "They're never going to see us as equals, are they?" Alan asked quietly. Patricia sighed. "They see us as dangerous animals who have learned to wear clothes and speak in complete sentences. It doesn't help that Earth's gravity, atmosphere, and biosphere would kill most of them in minutes. So we keep pretending to be less than we are? Keep hiding our true capabilities? The Vanguard and the other ships we've built in secret? We keep waiting for the right moment," Patricia said. "We keep playing their game until we don't have to anymore." The conversation was interrupted by a sudden commotion. A human aide rushed into the chamber, her face pale. She hurried to Patricia and whispered something in her ear. Alan watched as the ambassador's professional mask slipped for just a second, showing shock and anger beneath. "What is it?" he asked. Patricia turned to him, her voice low. "The Krell Dominion has attacked New Eden Colony. They dropped out of hyperspace without warning and began orbital bombardment of civilian targets." Alan felt cold. Casualties? Thousands in the first wave. The defensive fleet was caught by surprise. For a moment, neither spoke. New Eden was one of the first human colonies, a symbol of their expansion into the stars. It was also home to over 50,000 people. "Commander Miller, recall all our personnel to the constellation," Patricia said, her voice now hard as steel. "We're leaving." "What about the council session? The trade agreements?" Patricia looked at the gathering of aliens, most of whom were watching them with curious expressions. "This meeting is concluded." As they walked towards the exit, Alan heard the Vexari delegate say to another council member, "See? The humans will leave, submit a formal protest, and nothing will change. They have learned to be civilized after all." Alan felt a grim smile form on his face. If only they knew. The humans hadn't learned to be civilized. They had learned to pretend, and that pretense was about to end. As they boarded the shuttle back to the constellation, Alan saw Patricia send a coded message on her secure device. A single phrase that would change the course of human history in the galaxy. "Protocol Cerberus is now active." The time for pretending was over. Captain Samantha Rivers felt the cold Martian wind against her face as she watched her team run the training course. The red landscape stretched out before her, partially terraformed, but still harsh and unforgiving. Just how she liked it. The Ghostwalkers, her elite special operations unit, moved with practiced efficiency through the obstacle course. They wore standard-issue combat suits that looked like those used by other species in the Galactic Council. But that was part of the lie. For 15 years, humans had hidden their true capabilities. For 15 years, human soldiers had trained at full capacity, but fought at 30%. It was all part of the game. The pretense that humans were just another species trying to find their place among the stars. Samantha checked her watch. Lieutenant Eric Young and his team had broken their previous record by 10 seconds. She allowed herself a small smile of pride. Her comm unit chimed. "Captain Rivers, incoming priority transmission." She tapped the device on her wrist. "Rivers here." The face of Fleet Admiral William Jones appeared on the small screen. His expression was grim, his eyes hard. "Captain, New Eden Colony has been attacked by the Krell Dominion. Civilian casualties are in the thousands." Samantha felt her body go cold, then hot with rage. "The Krell? They violated the treaty, dropped out of hyperspace, and immediately began orbital bombardment of population centers," Jones confirmed. "No warning, no demands." Response: "Protocol Cerberus is active, effective immediately. The Phantom has been prepped and your team is go for Operation Shadow Strike. Briefing package is being transmitted now." Samantha straightened her back. Protocol Cerberus. After 15 years of waiting, it was finally happening. "Understood, Admiral. We won't let you down. I know you. Won't Captain Jones out?" Samantha turned and raised her voice. "Ghostwalkers, training is over. We have a real mission. The soldiers immediately stopped and jogged over to her position. Lieutenant Eric Young reached her first, his face questioning. The Krell attacked New Eden, Samantha said simply. Protocol. Cerberus is active. She watched as the information sank in. Some faces showed shock, others grim satisfaction. They all knew what Protocol Cerberus meant. No more holding back, no more pretending to be less capable than they were. Gear up, Samantha ordered. Full combat loadout, the Phantom leaves in 30 minutes. The team moved quickly toward the base, adrenaline already pumping through their systems. As they walked, Eric fell in step beside Samantha. Is it true? He asked quietly. We're really done playing nice? Admiral Jones confirmed it himself, Samantha replied. The gloves are coming off. About time, Eric muttered. I was getting tired of fighting at half strength. The Phantom was waiting for them in the underground hangar. Unlike the warships, registered with the Galactic Council, the Phantom was a true demonstration of human military technology. Stealth systems beyond anything the aliens had seen. Weapons that could reduce a small moon to dust. And a crew trained to use every advantage their Deathworld heritage had given them. As the team boarded, Samantha received the full briefing. Their mission was to infiltrate the Krell military headquarters, gather intelligence on their defenses, and disable key systems ahead of the main fleet's arrival, a mission that would have been considered suicide by Council standards. Listen up, Samantha called out once they were all aboard, and the Phantom had left Mars orbit. Our target is Krell Prime, their home system. We'll be dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of their sensor range and going in dark. She brought up a holographic display showing the Krell homeworld and its defenses. The Krell evolved from herd prey animals. Their night vision is poor, and they rely heavily on technology to compensate for their natural weaknesses. When we cut the power, they'll be in our world. Eric studied the display. Their headquarters is heavily guarded. How do we get in? Samantha smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. The ventilation system, built for their maintenance drones. They never considered a species with our strength and flexibility could use it. Because they've never seen us use our full capabilities, one of the newer team members said. Exactly, Samantha confirmed. For 15 years, every human in space has been holding back. Every soldier, every ship, every diplomat. The Krell, like all the others, think they know what we're capable of. They're about to learn how wrong they are. The journey to the Krell system took 12 hours in hyperspace. 12 hours of preparation, of checking gear that had never been used at full capacity outside of secret training facilities on Earth and Mars. When they dropped out of hyperspace, the Phantom's stealth systems engaged automatically. The ship became virtually invisible to sensors, its heat signature masked, its engine output disguised as background radiation. We're approaching Krell Prime, the pilot announced. ETA to insertion point 20 minutes. Samantha looked at her team. 20 men and women the best Earth had to offer. Trained on a world that would kill most alien species in minutes. Evolved alongside predators that had shaped human instincts and reflexes for thousands of years. Remember, she said, the Krell think they know what humans are capable of. They've seen our registered warships, our standard weapons, our official combat techniques. They have no idea what's coming. The Phantom slipped past the Krell defense network without triggering a single alarm. It settled into a low orbit over the capital city, invisible to the traffic control systems and orbital scanners. Insertion. In 5 minutes, Samantha announced. Team Alpha with me. Team Beta with Lieutenant Young. Alpha takes the command center. Beta takes the defense grid control room. They gathered in the airlock, checking each other's gear one last time. The combat suits they wore now were nothing like the ones registered with the Galactic Council. These enhanced their already superior strength, their thermal vision, their reaction time. For 15 years, Samantha said quietly, we've played by their rules. We've pretended to be something we're not. That ends today. The airlock opened, and the Ghostwalkers dropped silently toward the Krell capital. As they fell through the alien atmosphere, Samantha thought about New Eden. About the thousands of human lives ended because the Krell thought humans were weak, because the Krell, like all the others, believed the lie. They wanted civilization, she whispered to herself as she activated her suit's full capabilities for the first time in real combat. We gave them civilization. Now they get to meet the Deathworlders. The city lights grew closer. The mission was about to begin, and somewhere beyond the Krell system, the human fleet was gathering. Ships that had never appeared in any registry, weapons that had never been demonstrated, soldiers who had never shown their true abilities. The day of pretending was over. Fleet Admiral William Jones stood on the bridge of the UES Vanguard. The massive warship had never been registered with the Galactic Council. For 15 years, it had remained hidden in the shadows of Saturn, a contingency that humanity hoped never to use. The bridge was quiet. Officers moved with purpose at their stations, their faces set with grim determination. On the main view screen, 150 warships gathered at the edge of the Sol system. Most of them, like the Vanguard, did not officially exist. "All ships report ready, Admiral," said Commander Grace Phillips, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. William nodded. "Open a channel to the fleet." A small light turned green on his command console. "This is Fleet Admiral Jones to all ships. You all know what happened at New Eden. You've all seen the footage of civilians being bombed from orbit. For 15 years we've played by their rules. We've pretended to be less than we are. That ends today." He paused, looking around at his bridge crew, men and women who had trained on ships with capabilities far beyond what had been revealed to the Galactic Council. The Krell believed they could attack our world with impunity. They're about to learn why Earth is classified as a death world. William closed the channel and turned to his navigation officer. "Set course for the Krell system. All ships to battle formation Delta." "Aye, sir. Hyperspace jump in 3 minutes." As the fleet prepared to jump, William thought about the decision that had led to this moment. 15 years ago, when humans first encountered the Galactic Council, they had quickly learned a hard truth. The Council feared them. Humans came from a high-gravity world with extreme weather patterns and dangerous predators. Their strength, endurance, and reaction times were far beyond most other sentient species. The Council would never have accepted humans as equals. They would have quarantined Earth, perhaps even tried to neutralize the threat humans represented. So humanity had made a choice. They would hide their true capabilities. They would present themselves as less advanced, less powerful than they really were, and they would prepare for the day when the pretense would end. That day had come. The fleet jumped to hyperspace, a journey that would take them directly to the Krell home system in 2 hours, much faster than the official drives registered with the Council could manage. Meanwhile, on Krell Prime, Captain Samantha Rivers and her ghost walkers moved silently through the shadows of the Krell military headquarters. Team Alpha, led by Samantha, had already reached the central ventilation hub. The narrow maintenance tunnels were barely big enough for a human to squeeze through, but their combat suits enhanced their already impressive flexibility. "Team Beta, status report," Samantha whispered into her comm. Lieutenant Eric Young's voice came back immediately. "In position at Junction 7. Defense grid control room is 20 meters ahead. Guards present." "Understood. Wait for the signal." Samantha checked her team's position on her heads-up display. They were directly above the Krell command center. Through the thin grating, she could see Krell officers moving about. Tall, thin aliens with large eyes and nervous movements. The descendants of herd prey who had evolved into the dominant species on their world. "All teams prepare for blackout in 30 seconds, she ordered. "Remember, the Krell have poor night vision. When the lights go out, we own the darkness." One of her team members, Sergeant Linda Powell, pulled a small device from her pack. It would send an electromagnetic pulse through the building's systems, disabling all power for exactly 45 seconds before the backup generators kicked in. "Ready, Captain," Linda said. Samantha nodded. 3, 2, 1, now. Linda activated the device. Throughout the massive headquarters complex, all lights and systems went dark at once. The Krell below them immediately began making distress sounds, their large eyes useless in the complete darkness. "Execute," Samantha ordered. The ghost walkers moved simultaneously. They removed the ventilation grates and dropped silently into the rooms below. Their enhanced vision allowed them to see perfectly in the darkness. The Krell never had a chance. In the command center, Samantha landed behind the Krell High Commander. Before he could react, she had immobilized him with a nerve hold that worked on most species with similar nervous systems. Around her team did the same with the other officers. "Team Alpha has secured the command center," she reported. "All targets neutralized." "Team Beta has control of the defense grid," Eric's voice came back. "No casualties on our side." The Krell never knew what hit them. Samantha pulled the High Commander to his command chair as the emergency lights came on. The other Krell officers were already secured, looking around with wide, frightened eyes at the humans who had appeared from nowhere. You cannot be here," the High Commander said, his voice shaking. "Human combat skills are not advanced enough for this kind of infiltration." Samantha smiled coldly. "You only know what we wanted you to know. You've never seen what humans are really capable of. Until now." She forced him into his seat. "You're going to give me access to your planetary defense codes, and then you're going to watch as we take down every defense you have." The High Commander's eyes widened further. "Impossible. Even if you take this facility, our orbital defenses will destroy any human ships that enter our system." "That's what you think," Samantha said. "But right now, a human fleet is dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of your system. A fleet with weapons you've never seen before." On the bridge of the Vanguard, Admiral Jones watched as the fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation. The Krell system lay before them, its defenses already starting to respond to their presence. "Sir, we're being hailed by Krell Defense Command," reported his communications officer. "Ignore it," William ordered. "Status on the Ghostwalkers mission?" "Captain Rivers reports success, Admiral. They have control of both the command center and the defense grid. Orbital defenses are being shut down as we speak." William nodded with satisfaction. "All ships, advance to Phase 2 positions. Prepare main weapons but do not fire unless fired upon. We're here to demonstrate force, not to massacre." The human fleet moved forward, spreading out into an attack formation that would have been impossible with the engines and maneuvering thrusters officially registered with the Council. On the view screens, they could see Krell defense vessels, moving to intercept them, but already some of those ships were powering down as the Ghostwalkers took control of the defense grid. "Sir, incoming transmission from the Krell flagship," the communications officer said. They're asking how our ships moved so fast. They're saying it's not possible with human technology." A grim smile crossed William's face. "Tell them they've never seen human technology, not the real thing." Below on the planet's surface, Samantha watched as the Krell High Commander's face shifted from fear to despair, as his screen showed the human fleet advancing uncontested through his defenses. "This is not possible," he kept saying. "Your ships, your weapons, they are not this advanced. The Council records, the Council only knows what we let them know." Samantha cut him off. "For 15 years humans have hidden what we really are. The ships you see were built in secret. The weapons they carry were never shown to the Council. The soldiers who crew them have been training at full capacity while fighting at 30% against every threat we've faced." She leaned closer. To him. "You attacked a human colony thinking you knew what our response would be. You thought we would file protests with the Council. You thought we would accept losses and move on, like the civilized species we've been pretending to be." The High Commander looked at her with growing understanding and horror. "You were never civilized." "No," Samantha said quietly. "We came from a death world. We evolved alongside predators that would hunt your species to extinction in a single generation. We survived ice ages and asteroid impacts and our own destructive tendencies. We didn't become civilized. We just got very, very good at pretending." The emergency session of the Galactic Council began in chaos. News of the human fleet at Krell Prime had spread quickly through the galaxy. Species that had looked down on humans for 15 years now watched in shock as sensor data showed warships, far more advanced than anything humans had registered with the Council. Ambassador Nathan Ford walked alone into the council chamber. Unlike previous sessions, he wore no formal diplomatic attire. Instead, he was dressed in a simple black uniform, with Earth's flag on the shoulder. He carried no data pad, no notes, no advisors. The room fell silent as he took his seat. The human representative will explain these acts of war against the Krell Dominion, the head counselor said, her voice shaking slightly. Nathan didn't bother standing. War? The Krell attacked a human colony without warning. They killed thousands of our civilians. They started this. Even so, the Vexari delegate said, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly, the human response is disproportionate. You've revealed military capabilities far beyond what you registered with the council. Nathan laughed, a sound that made several delegates flinch. And why do you think we hid those capabilities, counselor? From the moment we joined this council, you've treated us like dangerous animals. You've dismissed our grievances. You've restricted our movements. You've limited our growth. He stood now, his full height imposing in the chamber designed for species that averaged a meter shorter than humans. For 15 years we played your game. We pretended to be less than we are. We watched you treat us like children who didn't know any better. The council chamber remained silent. You called us Deathworlders like it was an insult, Nathan continued. You never understood what that meant. Earth didn't just make us strong, it made us survivors. Every human you've met has been restraining themselves. Every ship you've encountered has been operating at reduced capacity. Every soldier has been fighting with limitations. The Arturian delegate, a tall, feline-like being, spoke up. Some of us warned the council not to underestimate humans. We recognized the signs of a predator species holding back. The signs were there for anyone who cared to look, Nathan agreed. But most of you preferred the comfortable lie that humans were just another species trying to find their place in the galaxy. He tapped a control on his wrist, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber. It showed the human fleet surrounding the Krell homeworld. What we've revealed at Krell Prime is just a fraction of our true capabilities. We have ships that could reduce planets to ash. We have soldiers who could tear through your best troops like they were made of paper. We have weapons that could end civilizations. The Zinthari delegate rose, all four arms gesturing in distress. Then you are the monsters we feared you were. You prove our concerns were justified. Nathan shook his head. If we were the monsters you feared, the Krell would already be extinct. Instead, we've taken their military headquarters without a single Krell casualty. We've disabled their defenses without destroying them. Even now, when we have every right to retaliate for their attack on New Eden, we're showing restraint. On the holographic display, the image changed to show Captain Samantha Rivers and her team leading the Krell High Commander to a communication center. Your restraint changes nothing, the Vexari delegate said. You've deceived the council for 15 years. We protected ourselves, Nathan corrected. When we first encountered your council, we saw how you treated other species from high-gravity worlds, how you restricted their movements, limited their technology, kept them under constant surveillance. You would have done the same to us if you knew what we were really capable of. The head counselor's voice was faint. What do you want, Ambassador? Ford? Nathan looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of each delegate in turn. A new beginning, a relationship based on truth, not pretense. No more treating humans like barely contained savages. No more dismissing our concerns because you think we don't understand galactic politics. And if we refuse, the Vexari delegate asked. Then we'll go our own way, Nathan said simply. We don't need the council. We've been developing in secret for 15 years. We have allies who recognize what we truly are and aren't afraid of. The Arturians, the Solari, others who understand that strength doesn't have to mean aggression. The holographic display changed again, showing images of human settlements on worlds the council didn't know had been colonized. Research stations developing technologies far beyond what humans had shared. Training facilities where soldiers practiced with their full abilities. This is what we've been doing while you thought we were struggling to catch up to your technology, Nathan said. We were never behind. We were just waiting for the right moment to show you the truth. In the Krell system aboard the UES Vanguard, Fleet Admiral William Jones watched as the last Krell defense ship powered down. Captain Rivers and her team had complete control of the planetary defense grid. The Krell military had surrendered, without firing a shot. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from Krell Central Government," reported Commander Phillips. "They're asking for terms." William nodded. "Put them through." The view screen changed to show a group of elderly Krell, their large eyes wide with fear. The lead figure, distinguishable by an ornate collar, spoke first. "Admiral Jones, the Krell Governing Council requests mercy for our people. We were not informed of the military's plan to attack your colony. We do not wish further conflict." William studied them for a moment. "Your military killed thousands of our civilians. By the old rules of Earth, we would be justified in reducing your cities to ash." The Krell leaders visibly trembled. "But we're not here for revenge," William continued. "We're here to establish a new understanding. The Krell Dominion will compensate the families of every human killed in the attack on New Eden. Your military will be disarmed and restructured under human supervision, and you will acknowledge publicly that your attack was based on a fundamental misunderstanding of human capability and restraint." The lead Krell bowed his head. "We accept these terms, Admiral. May I ask, why? Why hide your true strength for so long?" William's expression was grim. "Because if the galaxy knew what humans were truly capable of, they would have united against us out of fear. We needed time to establish ourselves, to build our strength in secret. The Krell attack forced our hand." On the planet below, Captain Samantha Rivers watched as her team secured the last of the Krell military commanders. Lieutenant Eric Young approached her, removing his helmet. "Captain, all objectives achieved. No casualties on either side." Samantha nodded. "Good work, Lieutenant. What's the status of the population?" "Frightened, but calm. The civilian government has issued orders to cooperate. There's been no resistance." Samantha looked out the window at the Krell capital city. Tall spires reaching toward the sky, streets filled with beings who had never known true danger on their evolutionary path. They had developed technology instead of strength, cooperation instead of survival instincts. "They never stood a chance against us," she said quietly. "None of them did." Eric followed her gaze. "Do you think they understand now? What it means to come from a death world?" "They're beginning to," Samantha replied. "And that's enough for now." 1 month after what became known as the Krell incident, Commander Alan Miller found himself back on Nexus Station. The corridors were notably emptier than before. Many species gave humans a wide berth, their eyes following Alan with a mixture of fear and new respect. The Vexari and Zinthari delegations had requested reassignment to other sectors, far from human space. Alan made his way to the newly established human embassy. It was 3 times larger than their previous diplomatic offices, with windows overlooking the central garden of the station. Inside, he found Ambassador Patricia Clark reviewing documents on a large screen. "Commander Miller." Patricia greeted him with a smile. "Right on time." "Ambassador?" Alan replied with a nod. "The station feels different." "Everything is different now," Patricia said. She gestured to the chair across from her desk. "The new treaties are being finalized. No more pretending to be less than we are. No more hiding our capabilities." "And the council agreed?" Alan asked, taking the offered seat. They didn't have much choice. Once they saw what happened to the Krell, even the most stubborn species recognized the new reality. The Krell Dominion still existed, but as a protectorate of the human government. Their military had been dismantled, their aggressive leadership removed. In their place, a new government focused on rebuilding and reparations for the attack on New Eden. "I've heard that some council members are still calling for sanctions against Earth," Alan said. Patricia laughed lightly. "They're welcome to try. But most of the council has accepted our terms. Some even seem relieved that everything is finally in the open." The door chimed, and a young diplomatic officer named Lisa Cooper entered. "Ambassador, the Arturian delegation has arrived. They're requesting a formal alliance." Patricia smiled. "The Arturians. They were the only ones who warned the council not to underestimate us." Smart of them, Alan remarked. Survival instinct, Patricia corrected. They evolved from ambush predators. They recognized what we were from the beginning. Lisa nodded. Their lead diplomat mentioned that they've been expecting this day for years. They said something about the inevitable moment when the humans would stop playing by rules designed to contain them. Show them in, Patricia said. And Lisa, make sure the refreshments include the protein snacks they prefer. The real ones, not the watered-down version we used to serve to maintain appearances. As Lisa left, Alan looked around the embassy. The walls now displayed images of Earth in all its dangerous beauty, mountain ranges with snow-capped peaks, dense jungles teeming with predators, oceans with waves taller than buildings during storms. We're not hiding anymore, he said softly. No, Patricia agreed. No more pretending our world is less harsh than it is. No more acting like our soldiers aren't trained to survive conditions. That would kill most species. No more keeping our best ships in shadow fleets. Alan thought back to the first council meeting he had attended years ago. The condescension in the aliens' voices when they spoke to humans. The barely hidden contempt in their eyes. How does it feel, he asked, after 15 years of smiling at insults and bowing to lesser beings? Patricia's expression turned thoughtful. It feels right, like we can finally take a deep breath after holding it for too long. She paused. But it also feels like a responsibility. We've shown the galaxy what we really are. Now we have to show them what we choose to do with that power. As they walked to meet the Arturian delegation, Alan noticed how differently the station's staff treated them now. Not with the previous condescension, disguised as courtesy but with genuine respect tinged with fear. Do you think we'll ever go back? He asked Patricia quietly. To pretending? She shook her head. The universe needed to understand what humanity truly is. We're not just another spacefaring species. We're Deathworlders. We survived a planet that would kill most of them in minutes. We evolved alongside predators that hunted us and prey that fought back. And now they know, Alan said. Now they know, Patricia agreed. And that's not a bad thing. Real peace doesn't come from pretending to be something you're not. It comes from honest understanding between different beings. In the meeting room, the Arturian delegation waited. Tall, feline creatures with predators' eyes and cautious movements. Their lead diplomat, Razik, stepped forward as Alan and Patricia entered. Ambassador Clark, Commander Miller, he said in the purring accent of his species. It is good to meet with you without the pretense that has defined our previous interactions. Patricia smiled. It's refreshing, isn't it? To speak openly at last. Razik's ears flicked forward in agreement. The Arturian Confederation has always recognized humanity's true nature. We are pleased that the rest of the galaxy now sees what we have known all along. And what is that? Alan asked. That you are like us, Razik said simply. Predators who chose to be more than their instincts. Hunters who decided to build rather than merely consume. Deathworlders who mastered themselves before they mastered the stars. The Arturian gestured to the document on the table. This alliance between our peoples is long overdue. Together we can reshape the Council into something better. No more artificial constraints on species from harsh worlds. No more treating evolutionary history as a reason for discrimination. As the formal discussions began, Alan found himself watching Patricia with renewed respect. For 15 years she had endured the Council's dismissal of humans, all while knowing the truth. She had played the game perfectly, hiding humanity's strength until the right moment to reveal it. On a viewing screen in the corner of the room, a news broadcast showed human ships helping with disaster relief on a Zinthari colony hit by a solar flare. The same ships that could have destroyed the planet were now providing aid. The same soldiers who could have conquered the colony were now distributing supplies. It was a message to the galaxy, Alan realized. Humans had revealed their strength, shown what Deathworlders were truly capable of. But now they were demonstrating something equally important: restraint born of choice, not weakness. Later, after the Arturian delegation had left with the alliance agreement signed, Alan joined Patricia at the large window overlooking the station's central hub. Below them, representatives from dozens of species moved about their business. Some still gave the human embassy nervous glances. Others approached with new respect in their posture. "What happens now?" Alan asked. Patricia watched the beings below for a moment before answering. "Now we build something new. A galaxy where strength is respected, but not feared. Where humans don't have to pretend to be less than they are, but also don't use their power to dominate others. And if some species can't accept the new reality, they'll learn," Patricia said with quiet confidence. "The Krell learned. The Council is learning. The galaxy is adapting to the truth that was always there. Humans aren't dangerous because we come from a death world. We're dangerous because we survived it, mastered it, and then chose to reach for the stars anyway." Alan nodded, understanding at last. The day Deathworlders gave up pretending to be civilized wasn't the end of civilization. It was the beginning of a more honest one. "To the future," he said. "To the future," Patricia agreed. "A future where we don't have to pretend anymore."